Rodents are a pest. They run around your backyard freely. But one way you can get rid of rats is by keeping your trash can closed. Police say the suspect entered into this home behind me where the windows, he says, were duct tape. I can only imagine how much fun it is to play with your kid on this playground. Put in how long you will be parked here and it's done. Kevin says he just left the college party when he and his friends jumped into the car and headed home. You will receive a booster shot of the vaccine every 3 months. Researchers say nearly 3 million new HIV cases are diagnosed each year. U.S. Airways is spreading swings in our nation's capital. The Tempe-based carrier says it's adding more flights at Washington's Reagan National Airport this year. And there you have it. Before we leave you tonight, reporting from Washington, D.C., reporting from the Tidal Basin, reporting from Phoenix, Arizona, reporting from Miami, Florida, I'm Denise Sawyer. Sold for sex at 14 years old.
That's where I was sold from one trafficker pimp to another one.
At the same corner where she was sold nearly 30 years later, Barbara is finally telling her story.
I was a brownie. I was a member of the Barbie fan club.
And she was a sexually abused teen looking for help. That's when she met a couple in DuPont who took her in and groomed her for the sex trade.
After everything happened, he took my money and he did what he did. Get out of the car and turn around and don't look at me. And I didn't look at him, but I thought he had a gun. I thought he was going to shoot me.
She says she's lucky to be alive today. Police say pimps stake out metro stops like the one behind me, looking for their next victim to sell into the sex trade.
The pimp zeroes in onto that vulnerability.
James Bold is pushing legislation in Virginia where he says,
in 2008, the FBI released a report that identified Northern Virginia as one of 14 hotspots for child sex trafficking.
Federal agents are investigating recent sex trade activities.
It can happen in the most rural places in the state. It can happen in the most suburban areas in the state.
1 mile away from Barbara's home in Fairfax, Virginia.
If you can't go back home, find somewhere else to go. Don't go back to your traffic.
Reporting from Washington, D.C., I'm Denise Sawyer. Sean Callahan has a tough task ahead.
And this particular finial that I'm recarving came off the northwest tower.
He's putting together piece by piece broken pieces of the National Cathedral. The attraction in our nation's capital was damaged by a 5.9 earthquake.
When it first happened, it was pretty overwhelming. Just at first, when the earthquake happened, it just took a while to sink in.
That's because tremors in this part of the country are rare.
I'm just copying directly off this one and using it for, I take templates, like this is a side template of the Crockett here, and just transfer it over to what I'm doing here.
Some stones were damaged beyond repair, but this one was lucky. Carvers are using this exact stonework to recreate the new stones.
They just need to be cleaned up a little, and they'll be put back up on the tower. So anything that can be salvaged will be salvaged.
The work isn't a quick fix. It could take more than a decade to finish the $5 million job. And for Callahan, he doesn't mind.
It's satisfying and gratifying to be here and just know that people are invested in what you do.
In Northwest Washington, Denise Sawyer, News 4. This man was paid by celebrity chef Goff Tracy to flip, twirl, and wave a sign that tells you to slow down. Tracy was hit hard with fines over $400, and he's given drivers a heads up. And if the curbside show won't get you to drive the speed limit, the words "new speed camera and 500 feet" will.
No longer speed, especially on Foxhall.
George Grom works at Tracy Restaurant and says speed cameras in D.C. are making big bucks.
It's the only place that will give you, I think it's a $125 ticket. Most other tickets are a lot less. I've gotten them in Maryland. They're usually $50, nothing more than that.
The speed limit in this neighborhood is 25 miles per hour, but there's a new camera not too far from here dishing out a lot of tickets.
Well, I got one last week, and then I think I got the other two like the exact same time.
Warren Hutchison lives in the area and says officials should ease up on the fines.
I still think that that's a whole lot of money for only going 10 miles over the speed limit, though.
Break the law and you will get caught on camera. And an unpleasant surprise will show up in your mailbox.
I mean, $375 is, that's a bill, that's food that you can't afford to,
So a warning from the sign spinner is just what drivers may need. Reporting in Northwest Washington, D.C., I'm Denise Sawyer.
Everybody was telling me it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay.
A Howard University student is recovering after being hit by a car on Monday.
Oh boy.
21-year-old Matthew Hobart was crossing Georgia Avenue at Berry Place when he was struck by a green four-door car.
I was basically knocked a few feet forward. The car eventually did stop 40 feet up because they were trying to run.
He was rushed to Howard University Hospital for x-rays.
And they said, well, you're all clear. You look, there's no fracture, no damage there, no internal bleeding, nothing.
Matthew walked away with minor injuries, but he said he will take all necessary precautions by looking both ways before he steps into oncoming traffic.
I'm walking, I'm living. I mean, I can still teach him how to Dougie, as you can see.
News of his recovery were on the web in seconds. First came the tweets and then the Facebook messages.
It was like about 6 pages worth of people just praying for me.
Matthew has a chipped tooth, black eye, and swollen forehead, but he still finds humor in life.
My Ron was like joking around. He's like, man, you looking sharp, bruh. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm good. And
whether the driver was under the influence is unknown, but a police report was filed and Matthew is taking legal actions. Reporting from Washington, D.C., I am Denise Sawyer.